Calling here agenda item 1.1 that the Council of Town of Kindersley, having established quorum, resolves to call the October 28, 2019 regular meeting of Council to order at 5 p.m. Mover and seconder, please. All in favor?
And we're going to, just for the record, that Councillor Moss and Councillor Councillor Gilbert have sent their regrets to the Council. They will not be attending.
Okay, agenda item 2.1. Did anybody see anything in the consent agenda they wish to move to the regular agenda? It's basically a couple or three reports, one letter. Agenda item 2.2 that the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves to adopt the agenda for the October 28, 2019 regular meeting of Council as presented, and that a copy of this agenda be attached to and form part of the minutes of this meeting. Again, mover and seconder. Gary. Chris. All in favor? Any council members notice anything on the agenda they wish to declare a conflict of interest on? Nobody of you had any notification? Okay. You?
We're calling in.
Conference call. Agenda item 4.1 that the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves whereas the time being 5:01 p.m. that the regular meeting of Council be adjourned to a confidential in-camera meeting. Mover and seconder, please. All in favor? Agenda item 5.1, that the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves, whereas the time being 7:04 p.m., that the confidential in-camera meeting is concluded and the regular meeting of council is resumed. I have a mover and a second for that, Chris. Second, Ben? Okay. All in favor? Thank you. Okay. Agenda item 5.2, that the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves to amend the agenda of the October 28, 2019 regular meeting of the Council to remove item 8.4, which is the West Industrial Drainage and Roadways Project. We moved by second.
It's only 280 pages of the three.
All in favor?
Scroll through.
Agenda item 6.1, that the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves to approve as presented the minutes from the October 15th, 2019 regular meeting of council, and that these minutes be attached to and form part of the minutes of this meeting. Have a mover and a seconder, please. Gary? Second. All in favor? Okay, now we'll move to 7.1. We have Golden West Radio. Candy, you got the mic? We don't have a mic?
I don't need a mic, I'm pretty much. Bring it down a little. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for having us. I'm Candy Gordon, you all know. I'd like to welcome our station manager, Barb Bell. Most of you, I'm sure, will know her as well. And joining us this evening is Mike Stratsky. He is our regional Saskatchewan manager of Golden West and Homefield. We are here this evening just to let the council members know about a business development that Golden West has had and the addition of possible some more employees down the road. And so we just want to give you that information, and I will hand the mic over to Mike. He's not enough to, he doesn't need a microphone either.
Thank you, Candy. And thank you for having us tonight. So as Candy mentioned, we want to talk about Homefield tonight, but before we get into that, a little bit about me. I work for Golden West and Homefield in Saskatchewan. I got my start in Humboldt, Saskatchewan, and I lived in a beautiful small town called Watson. And in my time there, I spent 5 years on council, 4 as mayor, and 1 as a councillor. So I have a huge amount of respect for what everyone does around the table here. And I know that you get a few more complaints than thank you, so thank you for letting everyone what you do around here. I put together a little presentation here. If you want to maybe hit the double arrows there, it should go full screen. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about Homefield and what we're going to do in Kindersley and the surrounding area with this new venture here. So there's a video here, and if we click it one more time it should play, but I'll just tee it up real quick. This is kind of the crux of why we started this company within our company. A lot of business owners have been coming to us just saying, there's so many options for marketing now. Can you help us navigate it? And so we built a team of experts to help small, medium, and large-sized businesses navigate that new digital world. So let's see if that plays.
Can you see? Yeah.
Let's try one more time.
Pardon?
If you go back.
Just the walk away.
We're not here.
It always works when I'm not here.
We did. We never saw it.
Double click?
There we go.
There we go.
I think that was today.
It wasn't that long ago when owning a business was simpler. You could hear the sound of productivity. Dirty hands meant work was getting done. And conversation was often your only marketing tool. But being good at what you do is no longer enough. The world went digital, and things got complicated. Now you need Google, websites, Facebook, Instagram, targeting, retargeting, SEO, reputation management, search engine algorithms, digital media. You gotta keep up, stay on top, keep posting, optimizing, reposting, liking, commenting, share. So just stop. And let us help. Help with all the digital levers and noise you didn't sign up for. We can free up time to focus on the homegrown plans you got for your business. Digital marketing? We got you. All things marketing? We help there too. We're Homefield.
So that video was written and produced by Homefield, and it's an example of one of the many things that we do for businesses. Candy shared with me a number of you around the table are business owners, so I don't know if that you can relate to that concept at all or not. Maybe not. Maybe it's too close to home. But so we're going to show a number of things that we do and also how they could relate potentially to the town with some of the services that you could utilize if you're getting into some of these things. So the next slide, please. So this is something that if you're a business owner, and this in some degrees pertains to communications of a town, how people consume information these days. So at the very front of the funnel on the left here is how you bring awareness of any message, right? And so if this is a business, we would call this a marketing stack. You would front load it with your advertising, radio, newspaper different ways to communicate in a mass media, right? And then you bring it down into today's world. When you hear about something, what's the first thing you do? You search it. And when you search and you can't be found, that happens a lot with businesses, towns, government organizations. You've wasted all that front advertising in the front. And so now it's important people know about you, but it's important that they can find you. And then what are they going to do after they found you? Well, they're going to research you. What's your reputation like? People are not shy to share reviews online these days. People aren't shy to share their opinion online. So it's really important on how we manage and manage those reviews and manage that reputation. So we have a number of products that can help with that. And then at the end of the day, if it's a business, if people go all the way through that, they've heard about you, they found you, they heard good things about you, well, they're going to buy your product. If you're a town, maybe they might visit, or hopefully buy a house and stay here. Any questions on that? Does that make sense? So just take a quick, I don't know if you just do vanity searches of your town or not, but just did a quick search of Kindersley. The one awesome thing is your website shows up first. That's well jumbled. Lots of businesses, lots of organizations. It's amazing how many times when we search them and search their exact keywords, they're not showing up first. So that is very important in today's world. Any questions here? Any thoughts on this? So what can we all do? Well, we talked about some digital services that we can do. Obviously, radio is something on the Golden West side. West Central Online is something we do. And then specifically in Homefield, here's a couple things. Let's go to the next one here. So SEO, has anyone heard that buzzword? Search engine optimization. Does anyone actually know what that means? What it is the words that you're putting in within your website. So when people are searching, it organically brings up your website. So it's more effective than when you're paying to bump it, because when someone's organically looking for something, having the right phrases in there will connect. So it's spending time on making your website easier to find. So if you search town of Kindersley, you show up right away. But if you search, I don't know, town near Rosetown or Clippers, do you show up first, right? Right. Red lines, yeah, exactly. So depending what you put, it will give you how much will show up at the top. Website development. Your website's good. It's such a powerful communication tool these days. Websites can do so much more than just inform. They can be massive communication tools, especially for alerting things like water boil advisories. Been down that road before in my life. People like to know that information, and you can do some things on your website that can make that way easier to communicate. Social media management is becoming a very big part of communication strategy, especially for municipalities. And we have a number of tools that we can do to make it easier. If you're manually doing all your posts, that can be quite a bit of labor. We can sell some licensing software so you can post it in one place, and it can go to all your platforms. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. One post instead of having to do it 4 or 5 times. Reputation management, very important in municipalities, right? What do people think about your town? What is your impression? Do people want to come here? Tourism, do people want to live here? There's probably a couple people with opinions, and people aren't afraid to share them online. We've got a couple tools that can help you here. Either give you a platform so you can reply to all reviews that you get, negative or good. You can see them all in one place instead of having to go to Google reviews, instead of having to go to Facebook, instead of all the different places that people can review you. It will scan, they'll bring that information up for you, and then you can reply, and it will come from the town of Kindersley. Graphic themes, we do print if you have any print needs. Pretty straightforward. Fire drops, snow drops. Jingles, if you want a catchy tune to bring some people here to the town of Kindersley. Jingles, production, we do TV production, video production, we do radio production. Photography, videography, if you're wanting to make tourism videos, that's something we specialize in. As you saw the video, we put that was a concept that we wrote and then directed right from scratch. So those are one more thing that we do. Strategy, and then the last one would be communication. These are kind of professional services we can do if you're needing advisory on how to best communicate with your taxpayers, with your residents. Those are strategies we can put together. So I know it can be pretty overwhelming when you're trying to communicate with 4,500 people. And everybody always seems to hear the most reliable information from their neighbor. Any questions on any of that?
So who do you guys based out of Lewistown?
So home field, we have opened up in every one of our Golden West centers. So we have an office here in our radio stations, and Candy is our representative here in Kindersley. We centralize a lot of our services in Steinbach, Manitoba, where the head office of our company. But we're hiring more and more of our marketing advisors or our experts to execute this across Saskatchewan. And as Candy talked about, eventually we'll add some more people in Kindersley here. So. But one of the what we do, having a person like Candy or Barb, is knowing it's a local person to work with. Where there's a lot of agencies across Saskatchewan that do this work, but they come out of Regina, they come out of Saskatoon. They don't have somebody lovely.
Texas.
Yeah. Any other questions? So I did one other thing. I just did what we call a snapshot here. Candy's going to hand them around, and it's just a look at your digital footprint. And so it's a program that we have that can pull it can mine a bunch of data, and it just gives you a little bit of a snapshot of how the town of Kindersley looks in the digital world here. So I'll just bring a couple things to light that I kind of found in the snapshot, and then Candy will hand them out. One of the things I noticed, the town of Kindersley shows up in 5 out of 25 different places that you can be listed. So that's anything from Google My Business to proper GPS coordinates for like where your town office is, so that you show up on all vehicles, you show up on all phones. So we've got programs like Listing Sync Pro that are pretty low investment that can sync that for you. Make sure you show up in all 25 of those places, and that you can have control. So if your office hours change over Christmas, you can just go on there, plop them in, and they'll update you in all of those listing places. Okay, this is what our office hours are for these days. If you change a phone number, you can just put it in one place, and then it finds everywhere it should be. Reviews. There's 26 different reviews that you've had. They haven't been replied to, so we have some different programs that can help manage those reviews for pretty reasonable investment. You have a really good presence on Facebook and Twitter. Your Instagram, I think you have 456 followers on there, but it's under a different name than your Facebook and your Twitter. So it's a low, if you're searching Town of Kindersley, your Instagram doesn't automatically show up. So there's some things, again, we could help with if you're interested in. I think that was the big stuff. Candy, anything else you want to point out there?
I think that's pretty much it. It gives it all on there.
So there's a 13-page report. And I don't know if you find this interesting or not. You don't have to fix these things, to be honest. But I just wanted to bring them to your attention and kind of show this as...
The young lady sitting just behind you there is the one that probably is the most interested because that's her job.
So we put on the back few pages there's a couple...
So this snapshot is something that can be done for any business, so it's what's inside of our Homefield programming. And so it's nice, it gives you a breakdown of things that you're doing really well on, things that you can improve on. But front page is a few of the things that he had talked about, and then the rest of the pages go more into depth of those different things. Did you give her a copy? Okay. This is the one that doesn't have the price, so leave those other 3 sheets that are after. Please.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's 13 pages and you can invest as much time going through it or not going through it as you like. Our biggest intent today, and thank you for making time because I know you've got important things to do tonight, was we just wanted to make you aware there's a new business in town and the types of things that we're hoping to help businesses in your community with.
Okay.
So the last 3 pages of that is actually just a couple of the programs that he talked about tonight, the Listing Sync Pro, that gives you the ability to, type something in once instead of putting it into all the different, social media feeds or the website, different things like that. There's the review management and I believe reputation management. Those are 3 of many different options that Homefield has. So we just kind of wanted to give you that snapshot report to show, where the town's at, things that maybe you want to look at. I know you'll be interested in looking at lots of them, so we can at some other time after you've had time to go through it, set another meeting, even if it's just with you and Audrey or whatever it is. We just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of our new business venture.
You got a question?
Yeah, I'm the only non-businessman, so we'll let
Any other towns on you, are you working with any other towns currently?
To be honest with you, we're doing a little bit of work with the city of Steinbach, but we haven't actually approached too many towns. We've been mostly working with businesses. The towns, obviously working with communications of towns isn't unfamiliar to me. And so when Candy said we had an opportunity to come speak to you, so we haven't done a lot of specific town work, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, I understand the communication needs of a town. So I do think there's some natural fits in some of the things we do.
And Homefield is very new.
We launched in Saskatchewan 2 months ago, but as a company, we've been at this for about 2 years. We started in our Manitoba centers first, and then figured out what we were doing before we brought it to Saskatchewan. Any other questions? Well, I really appreciate you making the time for us tonight, and I hope you see some value in some of the things that we brought forward, and I'm sure Candy will follow up with you and have a good meeting tonight.
Yeah, thanks very much for coming.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Thanks, Barb.
Barb.
I'll see you on Tuesday. I'll stop by tomorrow. We gotta go through a few things before meeting next week.
Sounds good. See you on that day.
Yeah.
See ya.
See you next meeting.
Okay, good night.
Thanks, guys.
You bet. Do all that? Much? Okay, we'll move on here. 8.1, that the Council of Town of Kindersley resolves to recommend Curtis Sackville, Rob Perkins, Dean Galbraith, and Tim Vogel as representatives to the Western Regional Landfill Executive Board to fill the 4 positions allotted for Kindersley in accordance with the per capita Executive Board structure of Worley, and that those representatives recommended here be duly appointed to the Worley Executive Board during the 2019 Worley AGM. Kim, maybe you can.
Sure. So the Western Regional Landfill is made up of 19 municipalities, and the board structure is based on a per capita basis. So Kindersley holds 4 seats. And so basically we would put 4 names forward for the annual AGM, and then at that time they would be voted in. So these are the 4 names that we are putting forward for the meeting. I believe it's held November 18th. And it's going to be held at the Elks Hall, so everyone is welcome if they want to attend that as well.
Yeah, I just maybe speak a bit early. I think we're enjoying some pretty good success there. I came on board after last, I guess it was, I think, and we're now into the number stage where we're showing some profits and showing some things happen and filling up quicker than probably we had anticipated. But we have a pretty knowledgeable group around the table. One of the fellows from Robert is an engineer, retired I believe, but he certainly contributes a lot to the calculations and stuff. So it's been it's a real success story, I think, and being used a lot. Is there any questions anybody would like to?
When are we going to, or are they going to start this second stage?
We're already starting to plan the construction of the second stage. So basically we only built half of the first cell. So we're going to be tendering out construction of the remainder of the first cell. So we're probably going to be moving forward with that in 2020.
Anybody else?
Who's currently on the executive board?
The same names that we're putting forward tonight. Unless there's other names that wish to be put forward too.
Seem to be doing a good job. I think so.
Okay, if there's no other questions, could I have a mover and a seconder for that motion, please, Chris? All in favor? Okay, and agenda item 8.2, that the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves to accept as presented the list of lands with arrears of taxes as of October 2019, that any property on the list of lands with arrears of taxes as of October 2019 with an amount owing of less than half of the immediately preceding year's tax levy be omitted from said list before proceeding. I would pass that on to CAO Audrey to
Yes.
speak on.
So this is the, as per the Municipalities Act, this list has to be presented to the head of council before November 1st or 15th actually. And so these are the lists of properties that currently are sitting in arrears that do not already have a tax lien on them. So after this point, then it will be advertised in the paper, and then a lien 60 days later will be placed on the property.
Any questions or Audrey on that? Seeing none, could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Mr. Anderson, second. Mr. Becker, sorry. All in favor? And we'll move on to 8.3, that the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves to approve the 2019 transfer of funds in the amount of $12,591 from the Curling Club Reserve, and that these funds be applied to the Kindersley Curling Club's maintenance costs. Audrey, would you care to speak on that?
Sure. So through the mayor to council, basically what has happened with the curling club, so they put $7,500 in a year for their, into a reserve to be used for capital purchases. However, in 2018-19, we all know that there was a lot of repairs to our condenser, of which their share of that was $12,591. That was something that they really hadn't budgeted for, and their fees weren't covering it. So they're just asking if that those bills could be paid out of the reserve, which we hadn't budgeted for. So I would just need a motion if you guys are in favor of that. Their contract that we have with them says that it can be used for new capital purchases or repairs to capital purchases. So it does fall within that mandate that it can be used for that.
Did we use part of that reserve last year to put in the air conditioner too?
No, we didn't. None of that was used up. Most of that was donated by a third party, and then we just covered the rest. The last time we used any of their reserves was for the overhead doors that went into curling.
It's having such a good day.
Yes, I know.
You mean the triple doors that are
Yeah.
attached to the
Yeah, you're welcome.
So have we got, did we have significant funds in that?
Yeah, they have about 50,000. Oh, wait. Oh, that's not it. I don't know if I have that information. Yeah, they have about 50 or 60,000. Well enough in there to cover that, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Not, could I have a mover and a seconder for the motion, please? Deputy Mayor Randy? Baker? All there? Yes. You're on a roll, Audrey. Financial report.
Okay, so we're at 75% of the year. This is at the end of September. Not a lot of variances that were really notable. The one, again, transportation is low right now, but most of those payments for that beautiful pavement that we have out there now they were made in October, so you'll see that balance out next month. Again, the cemetery, if you go drive in there, there's some beautiful pavement in there, which again was part of the budget as well, or most of the budget for that category. And the Norwich Center again has some beautiful pavement. So that of course is also getting paid in October. And then the same with the utility revenue is just the grant money for the lagoon project. We did do a first pull on that grant money from there, but we haven't yet received it. So hopefully it'll be coming in soon.
Any questions of Audrey on the financial? Okay. We'll move on to item 9.1. That the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves to accept as submitted the list of accounts as paid by the Town of Kindersley and in the amount of $1,452,007.07, and a copy of said accounts be attached to and form part of the minutes this meeting. And I think a whole bunch of that was for mobile paving.
That beautiful pavement.
That beautiful pavement.
Yeah.
Did you receive any?
I did not receive any.
Can I ask you a question? I
Yeah.
didn't get a chance to do it already. On the visa payments here, we've had this discussion a year or two ago about people at hotels and so on. I realize the pool employees have to be certified, I'm sure all these courses are necessary, and the exam only drivers and everything else, but who are the, who's the twin and touring employees?
They're at the pool.
Yeah, who are they? Are the kids or?
Oh, no, they're adults.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, I just wondered because there's a lot of rooms, you know, and they add up over time.
And one is a male and one is a female.
Oh, okay.
I feel like we shouldn't.
Well, I understand when you're in general going, yeah, obviously, no brainer, but it's a
Yeah.
couple of lifeguard girls, you know,
Yeah.
if that was the case, and I didn't recognize
Yeah.
who the names were or whatever, but that might not be good.
No.
Any other questions on the accounts at all? If not, I will need a mover and a seconder for the motion to pay those accounts, which we've already paid.
I'm not sent yet, though.
Agree. Councilor Becker, second. Councilor Anderson. All in favor? Okay, now we got a little bit of bylaw work to do. Agenda item 10.1A is that the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves to approve the first reading of bylaw 1019, being a bylaw of the Town of Kindersley to regulate smoking and vaping. Audrey, you can perhaps, I think we discussed this before, but you can.
Yeah, so
move it soon.
so this bylaw is replacing a current bylaw that we already have, 0209. And it's just updating it. It's including the e-cigarette that wasn't in our previous bylaw. So those as well will be, you won't be able to use those devices within any of our town facilities and or trucks or property. And then just tidying it up and whatever, but other than that, and Monica, you can help me if there was any other changes in there, which I don't think there was.
No, a lot, like you say, because
E-cigarette.
e-cigarette occur and the ability for the violent enforcement.
Right, yeah, and then the penalties, of course, we increased a bit on the back if you're caught within so many meters. But the distance away from our buildings or property or whatever remains the same as what it was in our previous bylaw.
I know it was coming out of that concert that night that right up the front, all of us was cigarette butts all over the place.
Yeah.
Do people even pay attention to those?
Well, they don't, we do have that, and I mean, now is the time we need to start, and we'll get, bylaw out there to, just.
That'd be pretty tough going into a crowd of 50 people smoking and pick one.
Yeah.
But I mean.
I think it'd be more assuring them away from the door or whatever than. Yeah. Yeah, memories are short, yes.
Sure.
Anything else? If not, we're going to have to do a little voting here, so I'm going to need a mover and a seconder about 4 different times. But we'll start with Councilor Baker, moved, second by Councilor Anderson, all in favor, carried. Move right on to 10.1B, that the Council of Town of Kindersley resolves to approve the second reading of bylaw 10.19. Again, I'll need a mover and a seconder. Anderson, Councilor Becker, all in favor. Carried. Agenda item 10.1C, that the Council of Town of Kindersley resolves to approve that 3 readings be given to bylaw 1019 at the October 28, 2019 regular meeting of council. No, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah. Okay, could I have a mover and a seconder for that? Seconder? Baker? All in favor? Becker, Baker? And finally, 10.1D, that the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves to approve that bylaw 1019 being a bylaw of the Town of Kindersley to regulate smoking and vaping. We read a third time and hereby be approved, and that the approved copy of this bylaw be attached to and form part of these minutes. Mover second. That's it. All in favor? Okay, that's one done. That, no?
1019, and this is your 1119, just
Oh.
a copy to sign, so we're short.
Oops. Stabbing it. Okay, and 10.2A is a bylaw that the Council of Town of Kindersley resolves to approve first reading of bylaw 1119, being the bylaw of the Town of Kindersley to fix the rates to be charged for the use and consumption of water, and to fix the rates to be charged for the discharge of wastewater into the sanitary sewer lagoon. Audrey, do you want to
Sure.
speak on that a little bit?
So this bylaw, again, is replacing a previous bylaw that only had the rates till 2017. The basic changes to this bylaw versus our previous bylaws are our water will now be billed in cubic meters, not gallons, as the last one was. And we are also moving to bi-monthly billing. So currently you have quarterly billings where you get a bill for 3 months. So the bills will be every 2 months you will receive a water bill. This change was made on the grounds that should there be a leak or identified water usage in a home, we're able to data log that and get that information better. So it'll be more useful information. And just maybe with people's budgeting, it might be easier with a 2-month bill versus 3. Also in this bylaw, what we've done is we've reduced the basic water charge per month, basically cut it in half. And then, so your water bill will be based more on the consumption that each one is using, as opposed to just getting that money out of a flat fee. So it's a lower flat fee, and your consumption charge will go up, but only based on what the water you used. And then we took off the sewer charges that were on our previous bylaw, so there'll be no sewer charge. However, we are putting on a sewer charge for anybody who has to dump it. So it's a dumping fee to dump directly into the lagoon for their thing. And then, yeah, just an increase on our water vending for the bulk water.
Just a question for the public's point of view. How is this going to affect the water rates for the average?
The average homeowner will probably see very little, I guess depending on their consumption, of course, but we'll see very little increase or change in their water bill. The low-end users will see a decrease, and the high-end users, of course, will see a higher or an increase in their bill because we are charging more for the actual water consumption as opposed to the flat fee.
For an average household?
An average household will probably see very little change, unless they change their ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions of CAO?
Oh, yes, sorry. And we also, Kim just pointed out, we took away the tiers. So there's only a flat rate there's no more tiers at all. So whatever your water usage is, what you will pay.
I'm sorry.
Question, why did we go from gallons to cubic meters? Like, to me, when you say 5 cubic meters, that means, I don't know, when you say 5,000 gallons, I know in my head that's a lot of water.
Yeah, the reason we did that is our meters read in cubic meters. They're a metric meter, and so what was happening is we would read them in cubic meters. We'd have to convert it into gallons, and we were having some people, and I mean very few, but it doesn't convert exactly right, and so this way it is what it is. We don't have to do conversion to make it. It'll be one less step when we do the billing and stuff. We will give anybody who needs the formula to convert it to gallons. They need to know what that is.
Send it this way.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Questions? Not? Can we have a mover and a seconder for the motion? Deputy Mayor Randy, second. Mr. Baker, all in favor? Okay, and we're going to do this 2 or 3 more times. Agenda item 10.2B, that the Council of Town of Kindersley resolves to approve the second reading of bylaw 1119. Again, mover and seconder, please. Councillor Anderson, Councillor Kerr. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Agenda item 10.2C, that the Council of Town of Kindersley resolves to approve the three readings be given to bylaw 1119 as at the October 28, 2019 regular meeting of Council. Again, a mover and a seconder. Thank you, Mayor. And all in favor? Carried. Thank you. And finally, agenda item 10.2D, that the Council of the Town of Kindersley resolves to approve that bylaw 1119 being a bylaw of the Town of Kindersley to fix the rates to be charged for the use and consumption of water and to fix the rates to be charged for the discharge of wastewater into the sanitary sewer lagoon be read a third time and hereby be approved, and that the approved copy of this bylaw be attached to and form part of the minutes of this meeting, or part of these minutes. Mover and second. Becker, Anderson, all in favor?
And I just want to make a note that these rates now will be sent into the Saskatchewan Municipal Board. They need to be approved by them, and that these rates will be effective January 1st, 2020. So there'll be no change for the remainder of 2019. And so starting January 1st, 2020, these rates, as long as they're approved by SMB, will be in place.
Next item on the agenda is 11.1. That the Council of Town of Kindersley resolves to approve the consent agenda, including the following items. There's mainly correspondence. There was one letter from Mark Bracken asking if we wanted to bid the 2022 Winter Games. Wheatland Regional Library Annual Report. Summary of report from the Saskatchewan Index of Wellbeing and the EK Admin Board September pumping report. Most of it's pretty straightforward stuff. I don't know if anybody's interested in talking about the hosting the 2022 Winter Games. It's a huge project. We did it 20 years ago, didn't we?
It's been
96.
94.
25 years ago. 84 was when
Yeah, was the, yeah.
Anyways, I guess that's been for Chelsea, so look into it. Did I have a mover and a seconder for these reports?
On a note to that, that's a big undertaking that anybody from the community would have to do that.
You'd have to start a Winter Games committee too.
Yeah, it'd be huge. I guess if anyone has any interest,
Kenny?
stuff is at the town office.
I'm still here then.
You'll be here.
Okay, agenda item 12.1, that the Council of Town of Kindersley resolves that whereas the time being 7 p.m. that the regular meeting of council be adjourned to a confidential in-camera meeting to review previously circulated items. Mover and a second, please. Point one, that the Council of Town of Kindersley resolves, whereas the time being 9:12 p.m., the confidential in-camera meeting is concluded and the regular meeting is resumed. Mover, seconder, Gary, Chris, all in favor? Carried. It's less obvious today. Any other business arising from the in-camera session of council? Seeing none. Item 1, that the Council of Town of Kindersley resolves that all business having been concluded, the October 28, 2019 regular meeting of council be adjourned at 9:13 p.m. Mover and seconder.